Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, the show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is Wednesday, sometime in August. And if you're wondering why it was a little bit of a different intro, I don't know exactly when this episode will get released. It's going to be my move-in week in Fredericton. We haven't really figured out when that's going to be. It's going to be early August anyways, but this is the Vault episode. And what I mean by the Vault episode is I'm recording this April 19th right now. We're about 6 days away from the draft. But to me, all of these teams, their core of their teams are there. You know what to expect. I don't think that a rookie draft class should influence on, change my opinion on whatever team going into the season. Now, obviously, there are some cases like that 2017 New Orleans Saints draft class where they drafted everyone was a contributor, basically, from the get-go. But those are the rare cases, and we get into the silly season. Again, after the draft, there's not a lot going on. So there's a lot of rumors, and look out for this 5th-round rookie coming out of nowhere. He's going to be really good, and blocking out that noise. So I'll try to do some where I think teams are going to go in the draft. Again, lots of good free agents. I mean, not lots of good free agents, but a few good free agents available anyways. But these are just kind of my overall thoughts on all 32 teams. Of course, we'll start off with NFL Weekly Update. No idea what's happening for that. But let's get into this episode here. Hello. Quick change of plans. No NFL Weekly Update. This is future Jason for just the audio listeners. I thought past Jason would have been smart enough to realize how busy he would be pre-move. And the pre-recorded thing, there wasn't supposed to be an NFL Weekly Update. So this is me telling you no NFL Weekly Update. I'll recap whatever is happening in the NFL, because I just recorded yesterday's episode. It doesn't matter. Also, I went on for a while. I think based off the intro, which I didn't remember clearly, I think I'm going to have some pretty wild takes and predictions. We'll see where it goes. Again, I still haven't listened to the full thing through yet. It's coming, well, I guess now, because I'm still in the past, technically. It's all confusing. But, again, I talked for a while. It is going to be a 2-part episode. Splitting it up, it'll just be hour 1, hour 2. I'll try to find a rough break in there somewhere, but enjoy. So how this is going to work. I have all 32 teams power ranked within tiers. And those tiers, we got the contenders, the playoff teams, teetering between tiers, boom or bust. They might make some noise, and then I just don't care. So those are the tiers, and before we do get into things, again, I said it, there are some decent free agents still available. At this point, Aaron Rodgers still available. Some older vet receivers, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, also still a dude. Couple names at running back like Dobbins and Nick Chubb and Cam Akers. Nothing really at tight end. Couple guards, Will Hernandez, Brandon Sheriff, Shaq Mason, Dalton Reisner. Edge rushers, Darius Smith and Von Miller are guys. Preston Smith too. Matt Judon. Jawan Bentley, Eric Kendricks, Shaq Thompson, CJ Mosley at linebacker. Kendall Fuller, Asante Samuel, Stephon Gilmore, Rasul Douglas. And then at safety, Julian Blackmon, Justin Simmons, Quandre Diggs. Again, there are some names, but all of those names that I just listed, none of them should, again, affect the core of your team. We know what these teams are. This is why I'm doing it now. This is why I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to be interested to see in 3 months from now if my... 3 months? Yeah, if in 3 months from now, if my takes changed, if they stay the same. But either way, I have my initial rankings. We're not going to do it in order. I have a wheel on my phone. I will spin the wheel. Then I will just talk about that team. And we almost started with the Dolphins, which would have been bad. But we are going to start with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are awesome. they have Josh Allen. Sean McDermott's a good coach. They have a good roster around Josh Allen. It's just, this is a team that just has not been able to get over the hump whatsoever. But as long as you have a guy like Josh Allen and he's healthy and he's playing like an MVP like he is, the Bills are going to be fine. I expect the Bills to be contending. They are in my contender tier. I guess I should have probably started off with that, but I have the Bills as my second ranked team in the NFL right now. Their win total also is set at 11.5 right now. But in terms of like additions, they added in Josh Palmer, who's basically taking over for Matt Collins. I think that's just like kind of a fair 1-for-1 swap. They bring in Joey Bosa to replace Von Miller. Joey Bosa is an upgrade, but Joey Bosa is also injured a lot, and he's also not that great anymore. Like, he's good at best. Ogunjobi and Michael Holt, who are both suspended 6 games, so we're not going to see them for a bit. They bring back Dane Jackson. They bring back Trey White. But that really is the weakness on this Bills team, is it's the secondary. And that's where they maybe should be leaning in round 1. I don't know how much they believe in a guy like Cole Bishop, who was their second-round pick last year, to take on more roles, and they still got DeMar Hamlin, they still got Taylor Rapp. It's decent safety room. The corners, again, could use some work. We like Taron Johnson, we like Christian Benford, but again, could be a little bit better. Bills can go a lot of... I think they're going to go defense with their first-round pick, whether that be on the interior defensive line, maybe edge, secondary definitely, but the defense is still good. The defense still has pieces. It's not... They're missing that like one special piece that can really put them over the top right now. And then on offense, again, I said it, as long as Josh Allen is there and he's commanding this team, the offense is going to be really, really good. Where it's not a concern, but the Bills' offensive line was intact basically the entire year. And trends and whatever, I think that's not sustainable, obviously. Like, injuries do happen fairly frequently in the NFL. It is a violent league where I don't know if all 5 guys will be able to be healthy all year round, but hopefully they are. And that's, like, I guess we can talk about the weapons a little bit. They're obviously hoping for a big second year for Keon Coleman. Khalil Shakir still doing his thing. He's been a very nice player. Maybe hoping Dalton Kincaid takes a bit more of a jump. James Cook is looking for a new contract, and I don't know if he's going to get it, but they've got the pieces. Like, obviously, Keon Coleman or Dalton Kincaid need to take it to that next level in order for this offense to maybe hit new heights. I think that's kind of what it was lacking last year, was for one of those guys to take the leap, and none of them did. And I mean, to Keon Coleman's credit, or Keon Coleman's defense anyways, he was a rookie. He's going through it, and I think that Keon should have a better role. I would look out for Keon Coleman as someone like who could have like a big breakout season as maybe the wide receiver one. Like, Khalil Shakir will get his targets. It will be good. But, yeah, the Bills are awesome. They're going to win the division. As for that 11.5 win total, like, take the over. They're going to be a very, very good team, and we will spin this wheel again. Spinning. We are going to the New York Giants, who are sitting at 30 in my rankings in the I just don't care tier. So the Giants are picking at 3rd overall, and it seems like it's a no-brainer that Abdul Carter is going to be their pick. And I like that a lot. That gives them an edge rotation of Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, and Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau, probably that 3rd guy. Maybe they look to move him. I kind of doubt it. But that is nice. Like, that is a pass rush that should be able to get after the quarterback quite often. And you add Dexter Lawrence in the interior there, who is one of the better defensive tackles in this league. That might be a sneaky defensive player of the year pick, is Dexter Lawrence. Again, I doubt that the Giants will be good enough for him to like really get the award, but I'm sure his odds are very, very juicy. And in terms of additions, obviously they got 2 new quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. I personally expect Jameis Winston to win that starting job in camp. I guess we will see by the time this comes out. They bring in Javon Holland over from Miami. That really hurts. They bring in Paulson Adebo too. On paper, like if you were to tell me, like if you were to look at how this roster was constructed and tell me that Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen were fired, this is like year 1 of a rebuild, you have a lot more faith in the Giants than, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are trying to save their jobs and they're probably going to get fired midway through the year anyways and everything's just sort of up in the air disaster. If this was just fresh slate, this is honestly, it's not a bad team. I expect the defense, and the defense was pretty good. Obviously, they had some lapses in the secondary, but hopefully adding in Holland and Adebo fix some of those laps. Deonte Banks hopefully goes back to his rookie year form and not his sophomore year form. Drew Phillips was a really good pickup for them in the nickel. Like, the secondary is looking at least like average. It doesn't look bad. And then that front 7, they still got Bobby Okereke. And then I mentioned Burns, Carter, Lawrence. That's a pretty solid defense. And then on offense, again, the offensive line, you're hoping that they can add another guard or another tackle in the draft maybe. But Andrew Thomas is awesome. Jermaine Illuminor is like a solid right tackle, like average solid right tackle, whatever. The interior, like John Runyon, John Michael Smith, Greg Van Roden, it's fine. But the offense, and I was really hoping they would land someone like Travis Hunter, but that's not happening. But Jameis Winston will be able to feed Neighbors, and I think the offense will be okay. Anyways, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the Giants, but their win total right now is set at 5.5. I would bet the over on that. I think that their defense is going to be pretty good, and I think that if Jameis is leading this team, Neighbors should have some good numbers in. Maybe they add another wide receiver. I have no idea, but I'm more bullish on the Giants, and I feel like I have been. I do think Brian Daboll's a good coach. I mean, he has fucked himself out of not getting the first overall pick in like back-to-back drafts, basically, where last year, if they would have, what was the game? But they won some game where it basically took them out of the Drake May. And if the Giants had, well, I guess then they wouldn't have taken Neighbors. Either way, I digress. I think the Giants are going to be like, okay. I think 6 wins is probably what I expect, but like, I'm on the over 5.5 for the Giants. We will keep going to the Seattle Seahawks, who are in my boomer bust tier, sitting at number 18, and their win total set at 8.5. Yeah, obviously a bit of a different look from the Seahawks. Geno Smith is gone. Sam Darnold is in. I'm trying to get to their depth chart here while I'm killing time. And then obviously they bring in Cooper Kupp. They bring in DeMarcus Lawrence. Anybody else that... Marcus Valdes-Scantling, I guess. Sure. This is a team I'm interested about anyways. I have, again, on offense, I'm a little like, I don't know what to expect. You have JSN, who's one of the best slot receivers in the league, pairing with Cooper Kupp, who at one point was one of the best receivers in the league, but by far the best slot receiver in the league. Clint Kubiak, it should be fun. MVS later in the season, like he had some like really good games for the Saints, like he did go off. But this offensive line is weak, and especially on the interior. Again, I don't even know who these guys are. Sataoa Lumea, Oluwatimi, and then Anthony Bradford. Those are their starters on the interior right now. That's a 2024 6th-round pick, a 2023 5th-round pick, and a 2023 4th-round pick. That's not great, and you're hoping at pick 18 they add an interior offensive lineman. I think a lot of people are mocking them Gray Zabel. That should be a good fit, but if Zabel's not there, or maybe a wide receiver like Tet McMillan slides, that might be the pick. People have mocked them tight ends, because again, Noah Fant isn't that much of a difference maker. The offense, I have no idea what to expect. I think Sam Darnold is an okay quarterback. I don't think he's in that 10 to 20 range, where a lot of those guys are interchangeable, but I liked a lot of what I saw from Sam Darnold. last year, those end of the season, those last couple games were absolute stinkers, but I'm choosing to believe the other 15 games of Sam Darnold being like a competent, good quarterback in this league. But what really gets me with this Seahawks team is this defense. This defense could be scary, scary good. And I know that like people are like, oh, like what are you talking about? In the second half of the year last year, the Seahawks defense really came alive. And Leonard Williams was a big part of that. Leonard Williams is a very underrated player in the league, at least in my opinion. But we look at this front seven. We got Leonard Williams. We got Byron Murphy, who was their first round pick last year. Jaron Reed, who's just, again, solid defensive tackle. They bring in DeMarcus Lawrence to help on the edge from Dallas, who, again, not what he used to be, but still, like, again, he's a solid player. Boye Mafe, Uchenna Nwosu. Like, they got guys, and what Mike McDonald loves to do is rotate these guys, put them all over the line. You'll have Leonard Williams out wide. You'll kick him in on the inside. You don't know what Seattle's front is going to look like. And then I can keep going. Ernest Jones is a good downhill run stuffer at linebacker. They could probably add another middle linebacker. I'm not sure how good Tyrese Knight really is. And then their defense, too. Julian Love, solid starting safety, and then Reek Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, very good corner duo. They got Josh Jobe on the other side. Like, they've got dudes. I'm excited to see how this defense looks. In terms of 8.5, it all depends on the offense. Like, if this offense is average, I think that 8.5, like over 8.5 is doable. I'm going to take under, though, because I just don't know how this offense is going to look. I don't think, like, the offensive line is already a big weak point. I don't think that Kenneth Walker and that Zach Charbonnet are, like, really good, effective backs. Sam Darnold, I got my questions. I love this defense, but I will go under 8.5 on the Seahawks. And we will go to the next team here. It is the LA Chargers, who are in my teetering between tiers tier, and their win total is set at 9.5. Yeah, the Chargers, again, blew my expectations away last year, was kind of fraudulent because they kicked the shit out of no one's and lost to, like, every good team that they played against. Like, yeah, but it is what it is, but again, my expectations for the Chargers last year were just to build something, and you could clearly see that it was already built. Now, this is a year where I expected the Chargers to take that next leap, to be like a perennial playoff team, or to be like maybe a contending team. And as of right now, I still kind of have my doubts. In terms of additions that they made, they bring back Mike Williams. That's at least a nice. You got the familiarity with Justin Herbert. They bring in Mekhi Becton at guard. Becton and Alt on that right side of the line are just two monsters of human beings. Tyler Conklin at tight end, who I think was like underused with the Jets, but he's solid. Also, I think a little bit underrated. He should be good. Najee Harris at running back to replace J.K. Dobbins. That's another position that they should be looking to add. It can't just be Najee Harris. And then in terms of the defense, they lose Joey Bosa. They lose Asante Samuel. They lose Poona Ford. And then they bring in Dante Jackson, who's really not that good. And they bring in Deshaun Hand, who's like fine. But like... So at that pick, I think they're at pick 22. Defense, like the interior defense, an edge rusher, like something in that vein would be nice. If Colston Loveland falls to them, that might be too enticing for Jim Harbaugh to pass up on. Kenneth Grant might be there. Like those Michigan connections will come into place still, but is this Chargers team better than last year's Chargers team? I do think that they're better. Does it really change my opinion of like how this team really is though? Like not really. Like the offensive line got a little bit better. Yeah, that's for sure. But I don't know. Like other than that, like the wide receivers like didn't get an upgrade. Like Mike Williams is not like we can just discount him until we see him get back to his LA form again. Like, Conklin is an upgrade over, I don't even know who they had at Will Dissly. Like, Conklin is an upgrade over that, but like slightly. Najee Harris might be like a slight upgrade over J.K. Dobbins, but like still, like, who really cares? And then on defense, you can argue that they got a little worse. Like, Noah Asante Samuel, but he was also injured a lot last year. Like, they're relying on Cam Hart and Tarheeb still to really take bigger roles. They were rookies last year who no one really expected them to take on those roles last year, but they did. That defense isn't looking good, and I think that defense was such a strong point for them last year, where now I'm struggling to see how it really works. Again, I do like to pick apart the Chargers, but things can still happen. There are still drafts, but at this point, that 9.5, I would go under. Like, I think the Chargers are still going to be good, but I think they're essentially running back the same team from last year, and that's disappointing in my opinion. I would have liked to see the Chargers take some bigger splashes and bigger stabs at people. Hey, maybe they trade up in the drafts for someone. I have no idea, but right now I would take the under 9.5 for the Chargers. And yeah, next team up here, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are in my they might make some noise tier, number 22 in my rankings. Again, new coaching staff, new front office, new regime. Will Trevor Lawrence finally have a breakout season in his fifth year? Everyone has been waiting for it, and I honestly can't tell you. They bring in Daimi Brown, who I think will be a nice secondary receiving piece for them. They bring in Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCarry to try to solidify that offensive line, I guess. And other than that, yeah, it's basically like they're running a lot of the same things back from last year. I don't know. It's the only way that this Jags team makes some noise is if Liam Cohen is him and he unlocks whatever has been missing from Trevor Lawrence. And again, I'm not really sure. Like, I would like for them to get a better running back than Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. Like, I think Bigsby's better than Etienne, but whatever. They could definitely upgrade at tight end. Like, Brendan Strange has been, like, fine. This is going to be kind of his first full year now that Evan Ingram is gone to, like, really see. The offensive line is still whatever. Walker Little at left tackle is solid, but, like, same thing with Anton Harris on the right side. He's solid, but also, like, it's, like, it's Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. is the one piece on this offense that is fucking incredible. And if Trevor Lawrence does his thing, he might be might get into that, like, top 5 wide receiver conversation, get into the conversations with guys like Justin Jefferson, like Jamar Chase, like CeeDee Lamb. That is possible anyways. The defense on the other side, it looks like Mason Graham is the pick. I've seen rumors about Ashton Jeanty maybe. Maybe they take someone like Armin Mimbu or Will Campbell. I don't know. But again, the defense looks decent anyways. Like, they got the guys like Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines-Allen, Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, Tyson Campbell. Eric Armstead is there, but, like, Eric Armstead really isn't that great anymore. So maybe adding in Mason Graham really gives that defense and that front seven the, like, zhuzh and the buzz that it needs. Again, there's a lot of potential with this Jags team, but I just don't know if I'm really buying it. I would take the under at this point just because, I don't know, if we're still waiting for, like, year 5 for Trevor Lawrence to break out, I just don't know if it's going to happen at this point, but we can keep going here. Next team up, sticking in the AFC South, it will be the Indianapolis Colts, who are sitting at, nope, not that one. Where are my notes? There are my notes. Who are in my, they also might just make some noise here, but sitting at number 27 with the total set at, with their win total set at 7.5. Listen, this Colts team, it really comes down to one player. And that player is Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson, we see the highs, not that often, like maybe 25% of the time, we see the, wow, Anthony Richardson's incredible, he's so good, yada, yada, yada. If he can, again, get there consistently, the Colts have a chance, but it really all depends on Anthony Richardson, because if he's not the guy, I can guarantee you something that Daniel Jones, definitely not the guy. And this is probably one of the worst QB rooms in the league. I take that back. I forgot about Cleveland at the moment. But again, the fact that Anthony Richardson should just be the starter. Like, you know that, hey, the guy that you picked at what, 4th overall, 5th overall? What was that? Whatever. The guy that you picked that early, who you knew was a project, give him more reps. Give him more reps than Daniel Jones, who you know just stinks. And it's funny because it's really like, it's two completely different sides of the quarterback spectrum. We have Anthony Richardson, who like attacks down the field but can't hit like the broad side of the barn, versus Daniel Jones, who is just a check down merchant and refuses to push the ball down the field. It's interesting, I guess, but like outside of quarterback, their skill position, it's nice. They got Jonathan Taylor. Josh Downs was a nice player last year. Michael Pittman's good. Alec Pierce makes some plays. They still have Adonai Mitchell too, who, if you saw some tape on his rookie season, he got open a lot. He just got missed way more. And it sucks for them, but they lost 2 starters on their offensive line in guard Will Fries and center Ryan Kelly, and they're hoping that Tanner Bordellini and Mac Goncalves step up for them in those positions, and that's something that, what's their GM's name? Chris Ballard? Yeah, that's something that Chris Ballard has done well, is he does draft good offensive linemen. Chris Ballard's a good GM. It's just the quarterback and the Andrew Luck stuff, but that was also so long ago where we can't really keep saying that excuse. I mean, that was 7 years ago now, which is absolutely crazy. The defense, they added Cam Bynum at safety and Charvarius Ward. That secondary all of a sudden becomes that was a weakness last year, becomes a bit of a strength. It's still not great, but I think Charvarius Ward is a very good corner. Obviously had a very tough year in San Francisco just with all the off-field stuff in his family. They're hoping that Laiatu Latu takes that next step in becoming like a dominant edge rusher. DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, still good. Like, they've got pieces on this defense. But again, it all depends on Anthony Richardson, because if he stinks, this team stinks. And listen, at this point, I don't know how you can believe in Anthony Richardson. So the win total set at 7.5. I'm going to go with under. We will keep going here. Going to the NFC West with the LA Rams. This is the first team that I get to talk about as a playoff team. They come in at number 6 in my rankings. Win total set at 9.5. The Rams offense is going to be so much fun to watch next year. Their offensive line, and again, I'll start from within anyways. Their offensive line is good. They drafted very, very well over the last few years, where they keep Alaric Jackson and they gave him a decent bag, which is, I mean, compared to what he could have gotten on the open market, crazy. They like Steve Avila, who they drafted in the second round of 2023. They like Bo Limmer, who kind of came out of nowhere to be their center. Kevin Dodson at right guard, and then Rob Havenstein at right tackle, who's been there for a long, long time. Matt Stafford is still Matt Stafford. They have Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, and their big addition is, oh my god, they lose Cooper Kupp, oh no. But don't worry, they have Puka Nacua, who plays that Cooper Kupp role and plays it very, very, very well. And then they add Davante Adams on the outside. That's scary. Like, Davante Adams is still a very good wide receiver. Now, is he like when he was with Rodgers back in Green Bay? Like, no. But I think that, if Puka's going to get like 1,400, 1,500 yards, Davante should get like 1,100, 1,200 still. Like, I still think that he's a top 10 wide receiver, fringe top 10 wide receiver probably. And that makes me so excited, because I think that the Rams and Sean McVay had a little bit trouble of like having Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, who both do very, very similar things in the offense. And obviously they still made it work. But Davante Adams is essentially taking over for Demarcus Robinson's role. And Demarcus Robinson, like, he had some good years with the Rams. But he's no Davante Adams. Davante Adams is still fucking awesome. And I'm very, very excited to see how this offense goes. Obviously, Matt Stafford is the big piece to this puzzle. He is getting up there in age, but if he doesn't go down, this is a very, very good team. In terms of that defense, something that really, really hurt them last year was the run defense, and they go out, they get Poona Ford, run stuffing defensive tackle. He will help them a lot. And this is just, it's a good, such a good pass rushing group. Braden Fisk, who they drafted in the second last year, Kobe Turner, who they drafted in the third in 2023, Byron Young in the third round of 2023, Jared Verse, of course. Like, they get after the quarterback, and I'm expecting Jared Verse to kind of hit a second level. I think towards the end of the season and in the playoffs, he stepped up his game completely. That game against the Eagles, he got to Jalen Hurts quite a bit, and I mean, we know those Eagles tackles with Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, they're awesome. And yeah, Jared Verse, like, he might hit that, like, I don't know if he will get into like the Hutchinson and Parsons Garrett tier next year, but I think he'll probably get into the tier right below those guys, which is exciting. But this the secondary needs work. It's okay. Darius Williams, Akella Witherspoon, Quinn Lake, like, those are fine corners, like a little bit below average. Cam Kitchens and Cam Curl at safety, like, they could also maybe do for an upgrade there. I don't know who will be there at the Rams pick. They could take someone like Josh Connerly or Josh Simmons, because Rob Havenstein is getting older, and just kind of sit him for a year to develop. Savone Ravel out of ECU, one of my favorite corners in this draft. That might be a nice pick. Nick Manawari at safety. Maybe Malachi Stark slides at safety, because that safety is just one of those positions which just isn't valued. But I'm very excited for this Rams team anyways. I am very excited for what this offense will look like this year. And we will move on to the next team. It is the defending Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles, sitting obviously at number 1 in my power rankings, win total set at 11.5. So, listen, the Eagles offense is basically the exact same from last year. No Mekhi Becton now. They slide in Tyler Steen, who they drafted in the third round in 2023. Again, this is just what the Eagles do. They just reload, retool. Howie Roseman is such a good drafter where they always have guys to replace the guys that they lost, and this is especially key on defense where they lose Josh Sweat, they lose Brandon Graham. Don't worry, because now it's Moro Ojomo's time, it's Jalix Hunt's time. They bring in Azeez Ojulari from the Giants, who I thought that was like a good value signing for him. They still have Bryce Huff, who they gave a decent contract from last year. And I think like that's what they're going to try to go into the year with. We'll see, I guess. But again, the Eagles draft really well, and some of these guys will work. And obviously, they still have Jalen Carter. They still have Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter, another interior defensive player who, yeah, might get some Defensive Player of the Year buzz at some point. And then in that secondary, they lose Darius Slay, they trade away C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and that now becomes a little bit of a weakness, where last year was a big, big strength. But obviously the rookies from last year, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, they will still be there playing their roles. I think they really like strong safety. Sidney Brown is too. Chase Brown's twin brother. So I think that their safety duo is going to be Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship, and I think that they're fine with that. Their depth chart right now has Keely Ringo, who was like a Bama corner who they took in the fourth round in 2023 as their like other outside corner. So like maybe that could be another like addition to them. I have no idea, but the Eagles are going to be good. And again, their offensive line is going to be awesome again. The run game is going to be absolutely incredible. Jalen Hurts is still throwing to A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. Like, they got the weapons. Maybe they draft another weapon. I have no idea. And yeah, like, even if a guy like Tyler Steen doesn't work out, when they traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Texans, they got back Kenyon Green, who's not that good, but you give a former first-round pick to Jeff Stoutland, who'll get the best out of him. So I'm interested to see how that works. They also got Kendall Lamb from Miami, which is too bad because Kendall Lamb's pretty good. But yeah, the Eagles are still awesome. They are the number one team. They are the Super Bowl favorites. Eagles are great. Next team we can talk about here, AFC South again in the I Just Don't Care team. It is the Titans at number 29. Win total set at 5.5. It's no secret right now of what the Titans are doing in the draft. They are taking Cam Ward at number 1, which is fine. I have my opinions on Cam Ward, obviously. I just don't think he's going to end up being a good quarterback. And it is what it is. At least the Titans are trying to like prep him in the best way possible. Like, that offensive line looks more or less fixed anyways. The interior looks solid anyways with Skronsky, Cushenberry, and Zeitler. They obviously bring in Dan Moore to play that left tackle spot, who they overpaid him, but at least he's like an average left tackle, which they've just haven't had for years. J.C. Latham goes over to the right tackle spot, which is his natural position. So the offensive line should be better. In terms of weapons right now, it's Calvin Ridley, Treylon Burks, and Van Jefferson. That's not good. Like, Calvin Ridley is still like a fine wide receiver. Treylon Burks didn't even play last year. And then Chigo Okonkwo with Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears running the ball. Like, that's a very okay offense. And again, they got a lot of picks this year. Maybe they trade up back into the first for a Luther Burden or an Emeka Ibuka. I have no idea. And then on the defense isn't any better, really. Like, I love Jeffrey Simmons. I think Jeffrey Simmons is awesome. Tavondre Sweat was awesome for them at nose tackle last year. But you look at their edge rushers, Draymond Jones and Arden Key. That's very okay. Like, literally, like, very, very okay. The secondary looks fine. They hope that L'Jarius Sneed gets back to like his Kansas City form. I think he was pretty good last year, but like, again, the Titans were just bad in general. I don't know. I don't have a lot of expectations for the Titans. Like, really, I thought the Titans were building something nice. I thought Rand Carthon was the GM for the job, and the fact that he got fired when obviously the plan last year was try to put as much talent in front of Will Levis to see if Will Levis was the guy. Turns out Will Levis is not the guy, and all of that money that they spent, yeah, all of them were contracts that they could get out of relatively easily, and they did. And he got fired because I don't think that he wanted to take a quarterback in this draft. I think that he was fine with Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter waiting a year, maybe giving Levis another chance, maybe bringing in another vet quarterback, but we'll never know. He gets fired. And I don't think that means a ton for Brian Callahan now. Because, again, I don't think that Cam Ward is going to be good. I don't think that Cam Ward is going to be good, especially given the weapons he has in this offense, regardless of if he thinks Calvin Ridley is better than A.J. Brown. If you don't get that, he was on his Fortnite stream. And, again, this would have been in April. And, yeah, it was basically just, like, hyping up all the Titans players. Hyped up Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. Obviously, funny dude, good sense of humor, whatever, but I just don't see it working. And then if that doesn't work, Brian Callahan's going to get fired and they bring in another coach. It's just I don't see this ending well for the Titans. I will be under their 5.5 wins for sure. I just don't have faith in this team. I think it's as simple as that. Speaking about not having faith in these teams, another team in the I Just Don't Care category, in at number 31, it is the New Orleans Saints. Win total set at 6.5 currently. That might have changed because Derek Carr might not play this entire year. I don't think he's going to, given the reports anyways, and that's fine. Derek Carr's not good. It doesn't really matter anyways, and yeah. This team stinks. This team is old, and this team stinks. Not a good combo on either side. So yeah, like it might be Spencer Rattler starting behind a okay offensive line. Like I like Tali Fuaga. That was a good pick from them last year. Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz are still like solid offensive linemen. They bring in Dylan Radins, who isn't very good to start for them at guard. Trevor Penning is Trevor Penning, who's like also just okay. The wide receiver trio of Chris Olave, Brandon Cooks, and Rashid Shaheed is intriguing, but then you remember all of those guys are coming off major injuries. Brandon Cooks and Chris Olave between them have like 5 brain cells left at this point between all of their concussions. Alvin Kamara is still Alvin Kamara, but he's old. Like, they should maybe get another running back. And the defense is so goddamn old. Cam Jordan, like, bless his heart, he's still out there. I think he needs 8.5 sacks to get to 130. I think that's his goal. Demario Davis, bit of an ageless wonder. They're secondary now. They traded away Marshawn Lattimore. They let Paulson Adebo walk, so now they're relying on Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alontae Taylor, and Isaac Yadam. Definitely need help in the secondary. They bring in Justin Reed to pair alongside Tyrann Mathieu, which is like fine anyways. I don't know. This team isn't good. This defense is okay at best. This offense is okay at best. I have no expectations for them, especially if Spencer Rattler's starting. I think this is going to be a bad team, and the Saints have needed to just be bad, terrible for so goddamn long, and I think this is finally the year where they're going to bottom out. So under 6.5 wins just feels like a guarantee at this point. We'll move on. Again, in the draft, adding edge would probably help. Adding secondary would probably help. They just go best player available. They need everything. Go best player available. We will stick in the NFC South and going to another playoff team here. It is the Buccaneers at number 8 in my rankings. Win total set at 9.5. So the Bucs are now on their 3rd straight offensive coordinator in 3 straight years. And I also think this is Baker Mayfield's 8th offensive coordinator in his 8 years in the league, which is also absolutely crazy, but their offense remains unchanged completely, which is great. Still got Mike Evans. They bring back Chris Godwin. Jalen McMillan looked pretty good last year, too. Was I right that they have Trey Palmer? They do have Trey Palmer. That was from another thing. Their offensive line took a big step up last year. They were one of the better offensive lines in the league. Baker Mayfield is awesome. Bucky Irving is awesome. I expect the same offense. Again, 3rd new offensive coordinator. We got Ryan Grizzard, I think is the name of the coach. Was that Josh Grizzard? So yeah, he just needs to kind of keep this train moving for the Bucs. That offense is good. On the other side, this defense, again, could use some work. They need some linebackers, though, like Lavonte David at, I don't even know how, like 34, 35, cannot be your best linebacker in the year 2025. I love Lavonte David, but again, he just can't be your best linebacker. Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, that's a lot of fun. They bring in Hassan Reddick, too, who obviously did not have a good year for the Jets last year, but maybe he can regain whatever form. Yaya Diaby's a fun player. And then in the secondary, Zion McCollum, Antoine Winfield, Jamel Dean, Tyke Smith. They got Christian Izien, too, who don't know much about him, but yeah, like secondary could use some work. This is a team that, again, should go best player available. A lot of people mock Jahad Campbell to them, the linebacker from Bama, who would just be a seamless fit for the Bucs and what Todd Bowles wants to do. A little bit of concerns about a shoulder issue, apparently, but I do really like this Bucs team. I think that they should win the division for the 5th straight year. Maybe not 5th straight year, because the Saints and older Drew Brees, when they were still kind of good, like they were giving them. But either way, 3 straight years, that sounds right anyways. Yeah, the Bucs are going to be good. I will not be doubting them again. Win total at 9.5. Take the over. This division stinks. Yeah. And we can go on to the next team here. Keep it rolling, keep it rolling. With the Minnesota Vikings, also in my playoff teams tier, sitting at number 9 with their win total set at 8.5. Obviously, if you see that, I'm completely over on the Vikings win total sitting at 8.5. This is a team who their offensive line fell apart last year. It started with the Christian Darrisaw injury and then bringing in some banged up guys. I think I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. I'm sorry. But this interior got pushed around a ton, and they bring in Ryan Kelly and Will Fries from Indy to immediately bulk up that interior. They trade for Jordan Mason for now their running back duo is going to be Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch. They still got the weapons with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. But now, it's J.J. McCarthy's turn. And from the 2 quarters he played in the preseason, he looked pretty damn good. Now, it's a preseason game, and it doesn't really matter, and we have no idea what to expect, but I think that I think that Kevin O'Connell is such a good head coach where he will get the best out of J.J. McCarthy because I think his system and the players that are in that offense can boost any quarterback up. I mean, we saw how good Sam Darnold looked for 90% of the year. And I think that JJ has the potential to be that guy and to still boost that offense. And even if the offense isn't as good as it was last year, I have a lot of faith in what this defense is doing. Again, this defense not great in run defense last year. And what do? They bring in Jonathan Allen. They bring in Javon Hargrave. They still have Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner, who's probably going to get a bit more of an elevated role. Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace at the linebacker spots. And then bring back Byron Murphy, which was huge for them. He's kind of their play all over the field, their nickel player. Mekhi Blackman, Josh Metellus, Harrison Smith, and then Isaiah Rodgers, who they also brought in. Also brought in Jeff Okudah, who Okudah's kind of a sad story with just kind of like how good he was supposed to be coming out of Ohio State, but I digress. So I think that their offense got better. I think their defense got better. It just really is J.J. McCarthy the guy. And if he shows that he can be the guy, there is no reason why the Vikings can't be exactly where they were last year. Maybe not 14 wins competing for the division, but definitely the second best team in this division again. I think they pick at pick 26. Honestly, they should trade back. I think they only have 4 picks in this draft, so trade back, acquire more assets. It is a deep draft from picks like 12 to 70, where a bunch of mix of ranges of players in that range. Could definitely use help in the secondary. That might be where they lean, but I have no idea. I like the Vikings a lot. I think the Vikings are coached very well. I think that their roster is really good. Again, it all depends on what J.J. McCarthy can do for this team, but we will keep going here. Next team up, it is the Cincinnati Bengals in my teetering between tiers tier. I'm sitting at number 12 with a win total set at 9.5. Listen, we kind of all know what to expect from the Bengals. It's their offense is going to be dominant and their defense is going to suck ass. I think it's as simple as that. Like, we know that Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase, throwing to T. Higgins with Chase Brown out of the backfield, they're going to score a lot of points. That's just a fact. I think it's as simple as that. The offensive line, it doesn't matter how shit the offensive line is because they score points regardless. Joe Burrow has had a bad offensive line since he's got in the league. They made it to the Super Bowl with a bad offensive line. Now, that defense carried them to the Super Bowl, but whatever. Their offense is going to be really good. Where it hurts them is this defense. Trey Hendrickson, we still don't know what's happening with him, if he's going to be traded, if he's not. I think last thing I've heard about that is he's just kind of up in the air. By August, we should know if he's on the team or not. So I think he will be on the team because he doesn't really have leverage to get traded, and the Bengals don't want to trade him anyways, and then he'll probably get franchise tagged next year and get fucked over that way. They need a big bump up from Chris Jenkins, who they drafted in the second round pick last year, but like in the second round last year, but defense is where they should go in this draft. And whether that be at defensive tackle, whether that be at edge, whether that be at secondary, because again, Jordan Battle, Geno Smith is your safeties. Like that's not Geno Smith, Geno Stone at safety, DJ Turner, Cameron Taylor-Britt, Dax Hill, all players who they drafted in the first or second round out of the last like 3 drafts, but like neither have really become guys. I think they're all solid, but like one of those guys need to take the jump. Honestly, if I'm the Bengals, I would just kind of say fuck it. Your defense is going to suck. I think it's as simple as that. And that defense did go through injuries last year too, where you could have argued that, maybe they would have been better if their secondary didn't get blown up. But I'm going to advocate for the Bengals if Colston Loveland or Tyler Warren is still on the board at their pick. Take one of those guys. Say, fuck the defense. We're just going to try to score 1,000,000 points, have fun football. In terms of the win total at 9.5, I'm going to go under. Like, I just don't think that they're going to be good enough, and relying on the offense to just carry the team usually doesn't work. Didn't work last year. Didn't work the year before that. Obviously, Burrow got hurt, but we'll keep going. Next team here is the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs over the last, in this decade, are the best team in it. 2 Super Bowl wins, went to the Super Bowl this past season, obviously got the shit kicked out of them. And this is I didn't even say. So obviously they're in my contenders tier, but they're sitting at number 4. They're behind the Bills, they're behind the Eagles, they're behind the Ravens, and maybe that's a little unfair for the Chiefs, but I have my doubts. This is the first year where I'm like, okay, the Black Magic, the Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes are just going to figure it out. That didn't happen last year. I expected it to, and it never really came. So we look at this. I'll start with the defense because the offense is more fun. We look at this defense. It's Chris Jones. Chris Jones is the driving force of that defense, and obviously Trent McDuffie too, but this is a team that needs better players in their secondaries. They lose Justin Reed, so now their safeties, Brian Cooks, Jaden Hicks, like that's okay. They bring in Christian Fulton, which is like fine. Like he's not that good either. It's looking like a lot of the same players anyway, so they definitely need something to boost that defense. But at least I trust Spags to kind of have a good game plan for most of the time, which will help. And on offense, their plan is they bring in Jalen Moore from San Francisco, who has had like 5 career starts and has looked like pretty decent, but they're just banking on him that he can actually be the guy. We have no idea if Jalen Moore can actually be the guy. Jawan Taylor on the other tackle spot, he's not very good. They gave him way too much money. But luckily for them, they lose Joe Thuney too because they traded him away, but their plan is slide Kingsley Sumataya over to that left guard spot. Still got Creed Humphrey, still got Trey Smith. And then, so it's like, okay, I've been saying a lot and really saying nothing. The Chiefs' offense has downgraded over the past couple seasons so far. And now their offensive line is probably the weakest it's been since they got the shit kicked out of them in that Bucs Super Bowl. Their weapons are looking questionable at best. Xavier Worthy had like a good rookie season, but again, we need to see like a more elevated role from him because he basically just played the Rashee Rice role. Hollywood Brown comes back, who again turned it on kind of late in the season, but wasn't really cohesive. Then Rashee Rice is going to come back from like that devastating knee injury, but he also should get suspended for 10 games for causing that accident and fleeing the scene and whatever. And I've heard nothing from that. Rashee Rice better get suspended. Like when you're all listening to this in August, if Rashee Rice doesn't have like a 8-10 game suspension for what he did last offseason, I'm going to be blown away. Like there's no way that you can street race, cause like a multi-car accident, and then flee the scene on foot, and the NFL's like, no, yeah, you're good. Just keep playing. Like, obviously, we know the NFL, like, there's so many legit criminals in the league, and they don't give a shit, but, like, there gotta be some repercussions for being that much of a dumbass. And then they got Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, like, they need another running back, too. This is a very good draft class to get a running back, but Isaiah Pacheco, I think it was, like, a nice story, but, you see it with like a lot of like these day 3 running backs where like they get hurt, they kind of like lose a bit of their burst or whatever, and then that's just kind of it for them. Isaiah Pacheco had no burst last year. The fact that like Kareem Hunt was out touching him is very, very concerning because Kareem Hunt also has no burst. Travis Kelce just getting older and older. Like he's still fine, but like I don't know. All I can say about the Chiefs is this is really a prove it year. They get the shit kicked out of them in the Super Bowl. People were putting Pat Mahomes in the GOAT conversation before that Super Bowl. Now they lose this one, and I need to see the old version of Pat Mahomes back. I need to see the slinging it all over the field, not just taking the safe play. I need MVP Mahomes back. Because we haven't seen that guy for a couple years. We've seen the flashes, and it's still Pat Mahomes. We all know it is, but I need a revenge tour. Like, I need Pat Mahomes to come into next year playing pissed off, or else I might just be like, okay, Pat Mahomes was nice. He's still a great top 5, top 3 quarterback in the league, but I don't know. Yeah, if the Chiefs don't have like a top 10 offense next year, I'm going to be severely disappointed with Andy Reid, with Pat Mahomes, with this, like obviously with the offense in general, but that's enough on the Chiefs anyways, so we can keep going. Next team up here. Okay, so future Jason here again. This is going to be end of part 1. Again, didn't have a clean cutoff anywhere, so did the best I could. So both episodes will obviously be posted on the same day. You can see on your podcast, moving is going well. We are basically completely packed up. I am literally holding my ring light as I show it to the camera, which doesn't matter for the audio listeners. Very, very excited to move. Don't really have to get too much into it, so enjoy part 2.